Morning, everyone. Sean Ruggiero. Thanks for joining us on the Family First Life AMS, Advanced Market Sales and Advanced Market Solutions. We're coming to you live from Facebook here. I'm excited to kick off the second quarter. Joanne told me, she's the social media director for Family First Life, told me to be very excited. So this is me being super excited, Joanne. Happy about this. Happy about the results that we had specifically on the fixed index annuity front for the first quarter. We had a very successful kickoff with the Vegas convention. Had Tom Hegna as a guest. I think he opened up a lot of minds, a lot of ideas on how we can sell these and help people. Had a terrible December of 2018, which really helped aid in the idea that your money is vulnerable if it's exposed to the market. So having some money sheltered, in some cases having people with all their money sheltered because they can't lose a dime of it, is really helping us to convey our message and write more annuities, help more people out. One of the things I want to kick off here, something that I'm very excited about, is the advent, the launch of the FFL AMS. That's FFLAMS.com. When we told people about the new agent commission levels, being able to offer the highest commission in the industry for fixed index annuities, we also mentioned these benefits that are going to be coming with it. And so now here we are, first week in April, we are launching some of those benefits. The site is not totally complete. These benefits will keep rolling out. Things will keep improving, but I think you're going to like what you see when you go there. So if you go to FFLAMS.com, there is a spot to register, and then there is a spot to log in. If you're going to register, you're going to use the your agent number for Athene. Athene has been our platinum partner because of their holdings, their financial rating. They own their own reinsurance company. They have the best products on the market. We're going to continue to push them. But it gives us a nice, easy way to verify that you are with us. All right, this is not available to people outside Family First Life. So if you have your agent number registered with Athene under Family First Life, you can now access this portal. You put in your agent ID here, and then the last 4 digits of the phone number that you used when you registered. If you don't remember, you can email annuity@familyfirstlife.com. But before you do that, try a few phone numbers. Is it the last 4 of your cell? Is it the last 4 of your office or your home number? It's not going to kick you out if you tried a few times. But once you do that, you verify, and you can go and set up your profile, and you're off and running. I'm going to go ahead and enter in my credentials because I already registered, and I'm going to go ahead and log in. So you see the first thing it's going to take me to is my profile. There's going to be a picture of myself here, my contact information, some news. Anything that we launch here will be front and center, so this will be an area for announcements. And you will see this profile and this dashboard change. But one of the cool things here is this is the static version. We are working with the new CRM, which is launching May 1st. Very, very cool tool. Some of the people who are managers, VPs and above have seen some sneak peek videos of how this new CRM works, but it's going to tie in all your lifetime production numbers. So you know how we're working to get from the beginning level to green, to yellow, to blue, to gold, to platinum, to black level producer like Matt Smith. And Bridget's going to be talking next, showing you how many agents moved up. I think it was something like 17 agents moved up their levels, are achieving higher and higher commission, the best commission in the industry. So it's something that we're excited about. But you'll be able to see what you're tracking, just like your airline miles. And then when you hit see more, and this is not active yet, but when you hit see more, you'll see a breakdown of your annuity production by carrier. You'll be able to see any pending annuities, things of that nature. So pretty cool tool right there. The Ask a Specialist is going to be here. So annuity or IUL, here's the form. And we strongly suggest that if you are in a client's home, why not do the Ask a Specialist right there in the home? It makes sure that you have everything. Or request from Bridget. She'll be providing some PDF versions of this that you can type it in and then transpose it when you get home. Insurance strip. This is one that a lot of emails have come in. People say, I want that free insurance strip account. It is now ready. So when you click here, it's going to take you to the sign up, okay? And it costs nothing. You see that? So sign me up. I'm not going to go through and bore you, but you're going to put in your first name, last name, email, verify your email, password, your address, city, state, and this is going to lead to first, and I'll show you one here, your exclusive agent customizable website that is mobile compatible. Here's one that I'll show you with Matt Smith, our only black level producer. So look at the style of this website here, and it's all WAP compatible, so it'd be viewed on mobile phone, has links to your social media, agent website, little quick bio. It'll list the states that you're licensed in, shows your resident license number. Very, very powerful stuff, especially if you're new, because if you're new in the industry, you need credibility, right? You got to have that credibility. This does it for you. The recommendation engine where people can leave recommendations for you, helping to bolster your reputation, your prowess, if you will. Free online quotes. And then all of your articles, annuity, IUL, any articles that you sign up for. And we are going to be working extra hard because I'm personally going to be overseeing the content that goes out in these articles. And that will be distributed through your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, and through your monthly email newsletter. In addition to that, you can do blogs, and on top of that, it's going to send out your holiday campaigns. Just that nice, friendly stuff, you know, happy holidays, happy 4th of July, happy President's Day, all totally automated with an acute sense of awareness on how we can create more awareness, more education, more insight to get people to want to buy more when it comes to annuities, IULs, advanced insurance products through estate planning and awareness education. I will be spending probably in the next 2 weeks a full section in the classroom for the AMS going through how to use insurance strip. But let's go back to the AMS page. So we've got our profile, we've got our Ask a Specialist, we got our insurance strip, commissions. All right, let's see what the roadmap is. If you're getting paid X right now on a Performance Elite 10, what would it be once you hit your next level? Okay, so your commission levels will be here. Marketing has multiple things to start out with. It's going to be where you can purchase or download the annuity and IUL brochures, and we're going to continue to add to that. It's going to be where we're going to have the Tom Hegna closing clips that you can blast out to agents that you're trying to move them into a situation where they're comfortable transitioning their money over to Athene or one of our insurance carriers, our annuity carriers. All of the AMS live recordings will be listed here, and then the learning section will be filled out. That's going to have learnings under both annuity and IUL. So annuities 101, IUL 101, even to advanced concepts such as how to sell using the portfolios, how to read the portfolios, how to sell using the illustrations, so on and so forth. So that's a quick glimpse. I'd say it's about 50% feature ready, but those features are functioning. That's perfect. Let's use bite-sized pieces. So to be excited and to kick off the second quarter here, let's all go do our registration on the insurance strip. If you already have an insurance strip account, it will recognize your email, use the same email. It will notify it, and then your billing amount will be turned to 0. But you can keep everything that you have because you've been working to get all those locked out emails, all those recommendation engines, and the product and the process is only going to get better, which is great because we're going to help you through just passive digital marketing, create more opportunities for annuity sales, IUL sales, advanced insurance sales, and customer retention, customer referrals, and second sales opportunities. So I'm excited about this next part. I'm actually really excited to see the agents move up the levels. So I'm going to pass it over to Bridget in What's News, and she's got a few updates for you, including the new agent levels that have been awarded. So let's look out for people in our groups. Let's look out for people, support them, applaud them, be happy for them, because this is what it's all about with Family First Life. We're going to give the best training and the best access and the best compensation across anywhere in the industry, and now we can say that for our advanced markets also. So thank you, everyone. Let's have a great second quarter. Take care.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's AMS Live on Facebook. Starting this week, we are actually going to be adding our IUL issue paid leaderboard to this call as well. And so we're going to kick that off for week 13 of issue paid IULs. We have Luke B with 1,295, Pamela M with 1,295, Thomas M with 490, Yarnis P with 310, Luther B with 303, Michael W with 6,032, Allison H with 2 here for 745 and 259, Brian C for 3,300, Christopher F for 3,300, Dean P with a 2,709, Ross R with 560, Shauna P with 2,709, and Travis M with 4,220. And then for our annuity leaderboard issue paid, these are March 21st through March 27th. So starting off our leaderboard, we have Samantha D with 713,410, Eric S with 284,565, Luke B and Nikki M with a split here for 203,164, Joyce V with 100,000, Donna S with 2 here, 1 for 100,000, 1 for 81,000, Dionis G for 49,857, Renee B for 48,127, Stephen R for $32,002, Tyler T for 30,385, Michael S for 15,000, and Robert D with 10,000, bringing our weekly total to almost 1.7 million for the week. Great job, everybody. Also exciting this week, it is the first week of April, and so we have all of our March promotions based on production with Athene. This is our second month of running on this platform. And it's really exciting to be able to show this because this just shows true growth, true people earning commission increases. And so I'm really excited to show you guys this week. Everybody who wrote their first annuity in March, 16 agents wrote their first annuity in March. Great job, everybody. That's Brian R, Eric S, William R, Zelia B, Eli P, Dan W, Travis A, Lance B, Eileen D, Elizabeth S, Robert D, Nikki M, Thomas M, Kristen S, Tina B, and Stephen R. So great job. Everybody was promoted to the yellow level as soon as they wrote their first annuity. Next up, we have 2 agents that passed the $500,000 level and were promoted to the blue level. Brian R, really exciting here. This was actually, he got 2 promotions in 1 month. 1 for issuing his first annuity, and then 2 for actually reaching past the 500K level. So great job, Brian. And then we and John G also reached the 500K level this last month. We had 1 agent pass the $1 million mark. Samantha D, great job for being promoted to silver level. And then we also, exciting, had 1 agent pass the $2 million mark and was promoted to the gold level, Todd S. That's super exciting that we were able to see 4 different level promotions. From the gold on up, it gets a little harder, from 2 million to 5 million and then 10 million. But these are exciting promotions, you guys. Great work out there in the field. Also exciting this week, as Sean has already mentioned, I'm sure, we are launching the FFL AMS site. We've been working hard trying to get this all organized and ready to go for you, with everything centralized in one place for the advanced markets. So this week, I'm just going to cover one section that we have updated and made changes to. The Ask a Specialist form. You can still access this through your FFL CRM, but this one is going to be built out a little bit more specific for you. So we did make some changes, asked some more specific questions on here. When you log into your profile in FFL AMS, which, like I said, Sean's probably already covered, you do need an Athene agent number to register for this site, but once you're registered, you're in and ready to go. So on the Ask a Specialist, you have the annuity and the IUL here. For any other ones that you were using, you would still need to go through your FFL CRM for that. But the annuity one, I just want to cover really fast. Pretty much stuff you're used to: client name, date of birth, state, target premium. We did ask a few additional questions here. Where's the money coming from? There's now specific accounts you can choose from to make that a little easier for you. Is the money coming from an active retirement account? Yes or no? You'll notice if I mark yes, a little box pops up here saying, please have your client consult his or her HR department to see if eligible for a rollover. That's because typically you cannot move active retirement accounts. So now this is kind of a flag for you, kind of a checklist on what things you should be asking in the home. So yes or no, depending on that. Goal here, these are the same as before. Currently taking money. If not taking money, what age? Additional comments, anything that would be helpful for us, and attaching And then you would submit just the same as you've done before. You'll still get an email confirmation, as well as that will then come to our department and we will cipher through those illustration requests. Another cool feature that we are adding to this is the download PDF option. I've had a few people ask me recently, do you have anything that we can have in home that has a list of questions we need to be asking our clients to be as thorough as possible? Some people can just pull this Ask a Specialist up right in the home. And that's great. If you want to do that when you circle back to that annuity money that you discovered earlier doing your financial inventory, definitely pull this up in the home if you have access to internet and can do so. But if you cannot, we wanted to make this very simple and usable for you in the home. You can now download PDF. And what that's going to do is take this whole form and it's going to transfer into a fillable PDF that you can either complete on your computer and save, or you can print as many copies of this as you want and take these into the home with you and use that as your fact-finding tools, and then simply come back home, put it in the computer, get it in your Ask a Specialist and get the request over to us. But this form has now become kind of a secondary financial inventory for annuity specific questions, as well as IUL. So IUL has pretty much stayed the same: client, date of birth, age, gender, right? All that information's tobacco user, what their needs are. You can also download this PDF as well to use in the home if you don't have access to that. So that is it on the Ask a Specialist. We'll be launching that this week. You'll be able to, after you register for the site, use this Ask a Specialist. I would recommend starting to use this one versus the FFL CRM, just because it's a little more tailored to specific questions and it has that download feature that's exciting to use. So that is all I have for you this week. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Thank you, Sean, for having me on the call today. My name is Matt Smith. I'm based out of Portland, Oregon, and I'm going to introduce a few different training topics for you today. I am going to cover the 5 retirement fears. I'm also going to talk about the vast majority of accounts that you'll come across when you're in the field. I'll talk about how you should approach those accounts, and then I'll also give you a specific closing technique in regards to sequence of return that will help you increase your annuity volume and protect more clients and their money as well. So the first thing you need to understand is the fear of loss is 2.5 times greater than the fear of gain. So with that said, it's very important to understand what people's money is for and what are the biggest fears of retirement, because this will help you transition into getting more sales. So it all starts with, number 1, not leaving a legacy. Not leaving a legacy is a concern for many clients. This can be where, our life insurance products can help them. This also can be where annuity products can help them in regards to passing things throughout without probate, making sure it passes safely to their loved ones, and making sure they have like some guaranteed roll-up rates that will be there when they're no longer here. So not leaving a legacy is the 5th reason why people are concerned about the retirement. The 4th reason is negative returns. The 2 biggest thing that Sean talks about is that can erode your retirement is negative return and fees. So negative return is definitely a hot button, and we'll get into that a little bit later in this presentation as well, and how you can capture more business talking about negative returns. 3rd is outpacing inflation. That's a concern for everyone. So roughly about every 26 years, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, your inflation doubles. So what $3,000 today is, 26 years from now would be $6,000, for example. And that's just with average, 2 to 3% inflation a year. But a lot of times people are concerned about their living expenses going up dramatically and their budget and their fixed income not being able to keep up. So here's where annuity products, once again, can help you combat inflation as well. Healthcare and long-term care costs, obviously we've seen that over the last really decade, see prices skyrocket for not only the working class, but a lot of the retirement class as well. This is a major concern for people, how they're gonna make sure that they have some sort of long-term care. We have annuity products as well that aren't long-term care products, but they have features that can act similar to long-term care to help them offset some of those, 2 out of 6 daily living activities, for example. there's some different riders that can double their income when they need that type of assistance, which is very strong. And then the last thing is outliving your money. It's probably the biggest fear in retirement, and I'm going to go over specifically on how you can use sequence of returns to help close your clients. So the next thing is, we talked about this, but when you're meeting with your clients, you need to understand, what is the money for? That's really, what are they currently using the money for? There's going to be a vast majority of different variables in this. You're going to meet clients that are getting closer to being retired, where you can use the Ascent products and guaranteed roll-up rates to create a guaranteed income stream for them. You're going to meet clients that just want growth, where we can do a Performance Elite product and put them in that. But really, what are they using the money for? That's going to be extremely important to figure out which direction you're trying to take your clients in regards to their money. And then also, when do they need their money? So what are they using it for? Are they taking withdrawals from it right now? Are they planning on retiring in X age? These are all factors that you want to identify when you meet someone to talk to them about their annuity money. So you're going to run into roughly, 4 different types of generic accounts out there. So first of all, it starts with a savings account. This could be like CDs or money market accounts at credit unions or banks that are going to be very low return, especially how low interest rates are. And usually there's only one reason why your client has money in the bank, and that's purely for the safety and maybe liquidity of having it just sitting in the bank. So the first thing you need to understand is, if they have the money in the bank, are they taking withdrawals from it, or is it just sitting there just for a rainy day? What is that money for? Generally speaking, if you meet someone that has money in the bank, your number one concern is making sure that they can outpace inflation. Because right now, having your money in the bank and getting, it depends on the type of a savings account. It could be 0.25%. It could be maybe 1% if you tie it up longer, 1.5%, etc. But the yield that clients are receiving in savings accounts are so low, it's not going to outpace inflation. And we can show them how to maximize their growth with no risk. So really, at the end of the day, when you're talking to John and Mary, at the end of the day, say, hey, John and Mary, if I can show you a product where I can maximize your growth without any risk, similar to a savings plan, would that be of interest to you? Yes. Generally speaking, you're going to have that happen. Generally speaking, you're going to get a second appointment with them, simply because if you say simple words to clients that make sense to them, they'll allow you to get back in front of them. So just understand, savings accounts, people want it safe. We can show them safe options with annuities to maximize their growth without any risk. The next thing is variable annuities. You'll meet a lot of clients who don't even really know they own variable annuities, because it's assets under management, or they have it in a managed account. And here's the key buzzwords that you'll find when you sit down with clients in regards to variable annuities. They'll say things like, hey, my account has a guaranteed interest rate on my money. Well, anytime they say any sort of guaranteed interest rate, they're talking about some sort of annuity. And really specifically, they're talking about the income account value inside of annuity. So understand this. Annuities, generally speaking, and there's different types, but I'm using a variable annuity or maybe a fixed index annuity with an income rider on it. You have a cash account, which is your actual cash balance on your account, and then you have an income account balance, where that's your guaranteed interest rate of growth. And once you turn on your lifetime income, generally that stops growing, and then it generates income for the client, just like a pension would. They can live as long as they want. It will pay them for the rest of their lives. There's a way that you can set it up where it can pay them, the husband and the spouse, or the husband and wife, or husband and partner, etc., for the rest of both their lives. There's very creative ways where you can create a lifetime income. Long story short, though, is if someone purchased a variable annuity, the key question that you need to ask them is, did they purchase that for the guarantee? So 80% of the time, at least, they'll say, yes, I purchased it because I'm guaranteed a 7% interest rate on my money. Okay, John and Mary, so if I can show you a way to get a higher guarantee on your money, and make sure in a black and white manner that we can improve your guarantees, would that be of interest to you? Yes. You can get a statement, send it to Ask Specialists, send in, what type of money, what their age is, etc. You'll get back an illustration and then you compare to see if we can improve the client's existing variable annuity. Generally speaking, the great thing about a fixed index annuity versus a variable annuity is the withdrawal percentage, number one, is slightly higher. It could be 0.5% higher. So let's say on a variable annuity, the withdrawal percentage, if they had 100,000, is 4.5% at a certain age. Well, maybe on a fixed index annuity, it's 5% at the same age. So that 0.5% on 100,000, that can be the difference between $4,500 of lifetime income a year or $5,000 of lifetime income a year. So I'm just using that as an example on what I've seen, doing this industry for well over a decade, running into the vast majority of variable annuities. And the trouble with variable annuities for me is just the amount of fees, the mortality expense fees, administrative fees, all the load fees inside the mutual funds. These accounts do not perform as that advisor generally talked to them about in the beginning. So just understand these things are very underwhelming in my professional opinion, but we can put them in a product that has a much higher guarantee, generally speaking, and we just have to work it out from there. So understand how to face variable annuities. That's important as well. You're going to run into 401ks and IRA money. This can be Roth IRA or traditional IRAs, etc. 401ks, one thing I will share with you about a 401k, if they are currently working, so they started their job 10 years ago, they've been there for the full 10 years, generally speaking, you cannot roll existing 401k if they've been there the whole time. Now, if they had a 401k from a previous job and they rolled the money into their next job, you could potentially roll that money, for example. But if someone's been there for 20 years and they're below 59 and a half, you're probably not going to be able to roll their 401k. Most likely, I very rarely have seen it. Now, you can ask if they can do a free in-service distribution if they're above 59 and a half. And if they've been there just one job, generally speaking, that's even more difficult too. So just understand when you're talking to clients about 401k money, if they've been at the same job the whole time, they can ask the human resource department whether they can do a free in-service distribution, but most likely the money will need to stay there, just so you're aware of that. The other thing is, traditional IRAs as well as Roth IRAs, there's over $1 trillion right now in orphan 401k accounts. So that's people that have, had a job, then quit and moved to another job. And you could imagine the amount of opportunity there is. People change jobs generally 7 to 8 times throughout their professional career. So imagine meeting with clients and being more aware and thinking, gosh, these people are leaving their job. They have old traditional IRAs. Maybe it was a 401k. Maybe it's just staying with their old company. And that's an opportunity for us to show them how, a fixed index annuity work and how we can improve their overall circumstance with some more black and white income planning, etc. So that's very important as well. I'm going to get into the sequence of return close on the last portion of this, because generally speaking, someone that's investing into those qualified type funds or even non-qualified funds, they're really looking to maximize their growth, but there's some things they need to understand, and it really depends on what their age is, obviously their tolerance in regards to being able to take a market loss. Obviously the younger you are, the longer you have to recover from a bear market, and that's extremely important as well. The last thing is you're going to have thrift savings plans, federal plans, and public employee plans, where all those types of accounts are really companies that then annuitize the client's money. So when you see with someone that was working at the post office and has a TSP, you could simply say, hey, if I can show you a higher guarantee on your money than you currently have with your insurance company that's going to annuitize this money anyways. And the great thing about it is then they have access on their money instead of it being really through the one insurance company that they're using that is that's the administrator for their TSP account. So it allows them to have their own money, Generally, again, we can provide higher guarantees, so it's more beneficial for them to move their money out of those FERS or PERS or TSP accounts. But it's our job as agents to make sure to understand what they have and whether or not we can improve their circumstances. The next thing is we're going to get into the sequence of return close. There's a lot of different variables here. Sean's used this slide in the past. I really like it because it gives you some raw facts and really lets you understand on where we're at in the marketplace currently. So the average bull market, that's when the market's going up, lasts about 8.9 years, okay? And the average bear market lasts about 1.3 years with a cumulative loss of about 41% in people's accounts. So imagine having, you know, could be 100 grand, could be $1 million, and then all of a sudden 410 or $41,000 drops out of your account. That would make you feel pretty frustrated as an investor or as really someone in the workforce that's able to retire on time to be able to have the money they need. And it's very easy to run out of money when we're talking about bear markets. Now, the last two, which is very important, in 2001, the bear market lasts 2.1 years. It dropped 44.7%, okay? And then also in 2008, it lasts the average of 1.3 years, and just over 50%, we saw clients on average, their portfolios drop. So literally had 100,000 in their account and went to 50,000, you know, just over 1.3 years. It's really hard for someone that's only got a decade left of work, maybe they're 55, 60 years old, to make a comeback, even to back even. So understand this, when clients lose money, let's say you go from 100,000 to $50,000, it takes 100% return just to get back to even. So it's gonna take a lot of time for clients' money to recover. And it's just important to understand that right now, for example, we're in year 11 of a bull market. The market has been going up drastically, the best in people's lifetime, the best they've ever seen. So right now, there's a lot of indicators on all different facets that we're probably going to see a bear market. It could be within the next 12 to 18 months. It could be sooner than that. It's going to happen, long story short. I'm purely speculating, but it's also based off a lot of financial experts in the field, what their research has shown, whether it's a weak global economy, whether it's the jobs market that's starting to show struggle, our industries are looking poor every day. And the other big factor that we've talked about is that quantitative tightening versus quantitative easing. So in 2008, remember I talked about this on the AMS call, but in 2008, Ben Bernanke was ahead of the Federal Reserve. He injected 4.2 trillion into the marketplace to get us out of this huge 50% drop. And it was a very effective tool because it got us out of the depression for sure. However, these were 10-year treasury bonds. And these 10-year treasury bonds right now, if you notice in December of 2018, that was the biggest drop in 70 years in December. Well, what we're noticing is 50 billion is coming out of the market on a monthly basis. So what this really means is it's going to create a lot of volatility in the marketplace because they're not reinvesting that money back into the marketplace, and then they're now taking it back, taking it off the books. That's just going to create, just from a logical standpoint, you go from quantitative easing in 2008, now we're quantitative tightening here in 2019. That's definitely going to play a part in whether or not your money will grow the same way. So a couple different things that I do when I sit with clients. I make sure when I sit with clients that I don't talk over their head. I make sure they understand how indexing works. And this is a simple graph that I would use and write it on the back of a paper to check interest. So all I'm really trying to do when I sit down with a client and I'm talking about their money is I'm really trying to see if they're interested in having another appointment. I'm not a one appointment closer. I don't believe in doing business that way. I want to create a relationship and a friendship for life. In fact, I can think of just this past week, I've been talking to a client that has a few different annuities with me and some life insurance as well. And the interesting part is He is now, I sold him life insurance at age 74. He's 79. He's battling through chemo with cancer, so he's lost a lot of weight. He's really understanding his mortality. He really understands how important it was that he did take action on the life insurance we did 6 years ago. And he was very thankful. So I was doing an annual review with him just this past week. And the client's mother had passed at 97, the spouse, the married spouse. And she told me, she's 74, her mom died at 97. So she inherited another $200,000, for example, and they had some other money set aside. They roughly had the ability to do about another $235,000 into an annuity. And my biggest concern for her was the income that she was going to lose when her spouse was going to die. Yes, she has some life insurance, and that's great. But we also need to look at the amount of income she was going to lose. Half her pension was going to be lost. She only kept the higher of the two Social Security. This really creates a potential problem here in the future. So I just said, listen, in regards to your inheritance, and we had some income annuities already in place. So some accounts that were growing at a guaranteed 7% from 6 years ago that have just been deferring and performing how they do. And that's the great thing about what we do is, generally speaking, when we're talking about income annuities, fixed index annuities with an income rider, they're going to perform exactly how they're supposed to perform because that's how it works. So it really allows you to sleep at night. It really allows you to stand behind the products that we sell, and I think it's really important. So when I talked to her, I said, listen, in regards to this, you already have some income producing annuities that will create a lifetime income. Here's the other gap that we can fulfill. You need to look at doing some sort of growth annuity with no riders, no attachments to it, just a growth account. You can access 10% a year without a penalty. And let me talk to you about how this works. So I literally wrote out, hey, you have about $235,000 that we can invest. Right now it's 2019. How indexing works is this. When the market goes up, you lock in gains and then you start over. You set a new watermark. So the great thing about this product is when the market goes up and your 235 goes to 250, you cannot lose not only your 235, but the interest that you've earned as well. So the market goes up, you capture gains, and then you start over a new year. So let's say it's 2020 now. Now let's say we got one more year left of decent returns. So you go from 250 to 270 in 2021. Well, guess what? 2021, finally the bear market comes and we see it rip down portfolios. Instead of going from 270 to 160, the great thing about this is you're going to have your original amount plus what you gain, and you have a 0% floor. And that's so important because zero literally is your hero in regards to two ways. It's a hero on a growth pattern, so you don't lose any money, and it puts you in a great aggressive approach without any risk of loss. And then the other huge deal is when you start to withdraw this money, right, it protects you from having those huge 40% dips, 20% dips, and you running out of money quickly. Because my concern for her, she was 74. She could live to 100 easy. Her mom was 97. She's super healthy. She's fit. She takes care of herself. I was like, you could easily have 25 more years here. And the last thing I'd want to see, because the individual was seen that he definitely was seen as mortality. He said, I don't know how much longer I got, and I'm rooting for him, like we were joking about it a little bit and whatnot, but I knew that based off of where she was at, there was a major concern due to the amount of income she lost, because she's losing like $3,000 a month, okay? So a couple things that you need to understand is it's big to explain to your clients and put them in the picture, meaning no different what we do with life insurance sales, we need to be able to do the same thing with annuities. So my concern for her was if we left it at the bank, she would have that money, but it's really not enough to make the impact that we need in regards to create another income stream. The great thing about this Performance Elite product is over the last 20 years, and you can pull an illustration to prove my point, the worst 10 years, and this includes 2001 and 2008, clients are getting right around 6% interest. So on the rule of 72, if you're getting 7% interest, your money doubles every 10 years, to give you an idea. So I was just giving the idea of, hey, if her husband had passed maybe in 5 years or 10 years, who knows what the money is going to look like. Like, this is proof that, ink prints on paper at this point. But let's say, 235 grows to 300. And by the way, she gets a 9% bonus on her money on this specific product. So that's a free like $20,000 head start as well. Now there's a vesting period, etc. But you get my point. So this allows her to grow her money as much as possible, and then it allows her to start taking distribution, systematic withdrawals, when her spouse is gone. So I think it's extremely important to draw this out, paint a picture, go over a hypothetical with your clients. It's extremely important to put them in the picture. So there's been studies by Trinity College and whatnot that you can take out about 4% of your portfolio and never have to worry about outliving your money. Recently, Morningstar said due to interest rates that withdrawal percentage is about 2.8%. So the reason being is there's not a 0% floor. There's no safety. There's no automated approach to it. The thing I like about not using managed money is extremely emotional, where this is just an automated system. This is not me managing your money. This is literally just like a Janus fund, for example, with Athene, that's locking in your gains, not participating in losses, and then allowing you to maximize your income when you need it the most. She can take out 10% penalty-free withdrawals. We even discussed her other funds and whether or not her spouse would need to go in some sort of assisted living. So we developed a plan around everything. And it was such a good feeling to not only know that the products that I offered 6 years ago were working great, but it was also great to know that I was able to show her how it would work, right? And understand that it was a great product for them. So a lot of times when you draw it out and explain to them that there's a new watermark, they don't have to worry about outliving their money because they can take systematic withdrawals. Their account's not going to drop 40%. That's the reason why they had the money in the bank, because they weren't sure what to do with it. Those are all important aspects. And a side note, it's important to meet with your clients, especially the ones that you have good relationships with, because there's a lot of money to be had on second sales opportunities. And that's you just doing your job, servicing your client. And by the way, annual reviews can be 6 months, 1 year. There's no timetables on it. And if they're important to you, then get in front of them every so often. It's worth your investment of time. I promise you that. My closing remark to you in regards to everything that we talked about today. All the problems, almost every single problem you face in your career or aspects of your life, whether it's a failed diet, marriage, financial problems, guess what it comes down to? You not taking enough action. So my point to you is start taking action with your clients. Slow down with the financial inventory. Figure out what they're using their money for. Talk to them about the bull market that we're currently in and the bear market that's going to come. And can they afford to lose money? And what is their plan when that happens? And understand that, Jack Vogel is the founder of Vanguard, and I love his saying that he does not know any advisor that knows an advisor that can time the market. That's why you need automation. That's why you cannot trust managed funds. That's why automation is going to outperform a managed account. Sean's talked about that on previous calls. So my challenge to you is take some action, and I think you'll find your financial future bright, and I think you'll protect a lot of clients' money, and they'll thank you in the future for it as well. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Sean, for having me on the AMS call today. I want to spend a few minutes going over what Tom Hagna reviewed during the Family First Conference in Vegas in February. If you recall, if you were there, he went over the fact that an annuity is a great tool in order to hedge or eliminate risks in retirement. And those risks include longevity risk, inflation risk, healthcare risk, and finally a sequence of returns risk. And of all four of those risks, longevity risk is the worst risk because it compounds all of the other risks. And our Ascent fixed index annuity does a great job of eliminating longevity risk as well as mitigating those other risks. And I'm going to go through a few sales ideas today to talk about how the Ascent can be used in order to eliminate or hedge against those risks. And we do have a couple of pieces, consumer approved pieces. The first one is called More Income Guaranteed. And so this is available off of the Athene website that you can order. And again, it's available for consumer approved use. So if we have a client that is 65 years old and they want to retire at age 68, and they have about $200,000 that they just rolled over from an old 401k into an IRA, and their advisor tells them that over the next 3 years they can grow that money at about 7% a year. We don't know whether that's true or not, but let's assume that it is. So that by the time the client's ready to retire at 68, his $200,000 has grown to $245,000. So at this point, the client wants to make systematic withdrawals from their portfolio in order to live their life in retirement. And in 1994, William Bengen set out a study that said that the safe withdrawal rate is about 4%. If you withdraw 4% of your portfolio, then you have a high probability of that money lasting for at least 30 years. Over the last 20 years, interest rates have dropped, and so we've had to revisit those studies. And today, the safe withdrawal rate is actually 2.8%. That could grow as interest rates go up, but if someone wanted to retire today and they wanted a high probability of their money lasting for 30 years, then they should take out no more than 2.8%. So if we make a 2.8% withdrawal from this $245,000, then in year one of retirement, the client could make a systematic withdrawal of $6,860. I would submit that by adding a cent to this portfolio, we can accomplish two things. One, we can increase the client's income in retirement, and two, we can decrease the risk of them potentially running out of money in retirement. So if I take this $200,000 and split it up, $100,000 I'm going to leave where it is, and then $100,000 I'm going to put into the Ascent product. So the $100,000 that I leave where it is, let's use the same assumptions, 7% growth, and then a 2.8% withdrawal rate, which means that in year one, my first withdrawal would be exactly half. It would be $3,430. The other $100,000 we're going to put into the Ascent contract. You get a 10% bonus to the income base immediately in the contract. And then every year that you wait in order to turn on income, you get a 10% roll up. So the income base grows at 10% each year that you don't take income. So in this example, we're waiting 3 years in order to take income. So I get the 10% bonus, and I get the 10% roll up each year for 3 years. If I turn on the income in 3 years at age 68, my guaranteed income for life is $6,860. So now the client has two income streams, one from the systematic withdrawal and one from the annuity. So add those two together and we get $10,290 in year one in retirement versus the $6,860 that you would get from just making a safe systematic withdrawal. So two things have happened here. One is we increased the client's income by 50% from $6,860 to $10,290. And the second is we reduced the risk of running out of money in the portfolio by just about 2/3. And the reason that is this $6,860, even though it's a safe withdrawal rate, none of it's guaranteed, right? But with the two income streams here, the $6,860 is guaranteed for the rest of the client's life. And so that now becomes 2/3 of the client's portfolio that's guaranteed for the rest of their life. So a great tool for clients that are looking to be making systematic withdrawals in retirement. By adding an annuity to that portfolio, they can A, increase the amount of income, and B, decrease the amount of risk of running out of money in their portfolio. So that's one piece that we have that's approved for our clients. Another sales idea for the Ascent is for clients that are looking to use what's called the flooring approach in retirement. And what that means is We want a client to be able to have guaranteed income in retirement, and it would be great if that guaranteed income covered their essential expenses in retirement. And we have a piece here that's called the Retirement Expense and Needs Finder. And on the back of that piece, it helps a client figure out what their budget is going to be in retirement. And it takes their budget and it breaks it up into two distinct buckets, the essential expenses and the discretionary expenses. So the essential expenses are the needs in retirement: food, shelter, clothing. The discretionary expenses are the wants in retirement. So I want to take a vacation, etc. Underneath here, we have a line items for the guaranteed income in retirement. So what's their Social Security going to be in retirement? What is their pension going to be in retirement if they have one? Add those up and you figure out the number of guaranteed income sources and the amount of guaranteed income. And in a perfect world, that amount is going to either equal or exceed the amount of essential expenses. That way the client has the peace of mind of knowing that they have enough money in retirement to cover their needs. So we're going to go through an example of using that piece. And the example is a 60-year-old couple who wants to retire in 5 years at age 65. They've saved up currently about $300,000 for retirement, and they currently make about $75,000 a year. So in 5 years, they figure that they're going to spend about 80% of their take-home pay in retirement, which is about $60,000 a year or $5,000 a month in retirement. By using this worksheet, they then break up that $60,000 a year into two buckets, the needs and the wants. And they figured out that their needs are $50,000 a year and their wants are $10,000. So they want to take 2 vacations a year, for instance. We're going to focus on the needs for the purpose of this exercise. So we want those needs covered by guaranteed sources of income, of which there are 3. The first one is Social Security, and between the two of them, if they turn on Social Security at age 65, they're each going to get $15,000 a year for a total of $30,000. One of them is fortunate enough to get a pension, and when they turn that on at age 65, they're going to get $10,000 a year guaranteed for life. So they now have $40,000 in guaranteed income, but their essential expenses are $50,000. So there's a gap there of $10,000. So we now have the 2 pieces of information that we need in order to solve that gap. And we can send that information to the Ask a Specialist email box and then get an illustration back. The 2 pieces being the gap, which is $10,000, so we know they need $10,000 in retirement, and the time frame on when they need that, which is 5 years. So how much money would we need to put into an Ascent contract today in order to generate $10,000 in guaranteed income in 5 years in order to solve for that gap? And that amount would be probably just under $136,000. So if I put in $136,000 into the Ascent today, in 5 years, I am guaranteed to receive $10,000 a year guaranteed for the rest of my life. And in this case, the client would then have enough guaranteed income in order to cover their needs in retirement so that they have a peace of mind, being able to sleep at night knowing that their food, shelter, and clothing is all covered. So a great way to go into with the client using the tool, the retirement planning expense worksheet, and figuring out that there's a gap that the client has, and we can use the Ascent FIA in order to solve that gap. So again, just following up on what Tom Hegna said, the annuity is a great tool in order to eliminate longevity risk as well as mitigate against some of the other risks. And the Ascent specifically is our top tool for clients that are looking for guaranteed income to potentially augment Social Security in retirement. So with that, I appreciate your time. My number is 804-240-5230 if you need any questions, or you can contact Scott McClure at the Athene Sales Desk. He's a great resource available to you. Thanks.
All right, Galen Ware here, Vice President, Family First Life Balanced Options. I want to talk to you real quick about why it's important to make annuities a part of your everyday business activity. Number one, you got to make sure that you're using your client worksheet. This is how you make it a part of your activity. If you're not using that worksheet, it's never going to be a part of your activity. So use your worksheet. It's at the bottom. It asks you, is there anything else like life insurance? Though that statement is there, and then it has some examples there as well. That's how you locate the money. The other thing is, one of the ways that I've used this Athene or annuities to help magnify my business is that I've walked into homes and instantly people said, I don't want no life insurance. But then when I hit them with this, so you're not interested in a way to self-insure to where, you know how the insurance companies get paid? Instead of them getting paid, you get paid. Yeah, I get that bland look, the one you just gave me. I get that same look. And then I say, hey, I need to get to a table. You lead, I'll follow. They take me straight to the table. So when I get to the table, I explain to them that, hey, here's a couple of ways you can do this. Depending upon the state, you have the ability to make as little as a single premium payment of $5,000 and up. That allows you to never have to make another insurance payment at all. I understand somebody done rub you the wrong way. I understand that you couldn't qualify, but this way, you're not qualifying via health, you're qualifying financially. It's that simple, okay? So let me tell you what it has done for me financially. 2016, I used to pay $13,000. 2017, and this is just annuity volume only. 2017, $20,000. 2018, $50,000 from just one carrier, Athene, doing nothing but writing annuities. Tell me you should not be doing it. If you don't want to do it, do me a huge favor. Hit me up after this, and I'll take the clients that you didn't want to see, and I'll go write them for you and shoot you a message about how much money I made. I'm just saying I'm willing to do that for you. I know you're saying, Galen, that's not fair. Well, whatever. I'm willing to help you out. Why agents need to focus on making this part of your business? One is, I want to tell you, don't be afraid. Don't let this intimidate you. The intimidation should go away because you have the best general trainer in this game, Sean Ruggiero. He's the best at this. And then his team helps us as well when he's already got a lot of other stuff going on. So we are never in a situation here at Family First Life where we don't have the proper help. So that's the first thing. The second thing, if I were you, I would start paying attention to the safemoneysmart.org. Hey, just go and look at it. Follow them on Twitter. It's there. When you read those feeds, it just pop up in my phone, people. And every time something pop up, I start reading. I've been in a client's house, and a Twitter feed will alert me, oh, go back and ask them about this again. This being annuities. I'm just saying. And then the other thing, you want to call Athene, okay, and place an order to get you some supplies. It's that simple. If they send you these nice folders, yeah, and you don't have to pay for them. But what you got to do, you got to be willing to stick your finger out there on your telephone, that thing that you're afraid of, called a smartphone. Call them up, give them your ID number, and then they're gonna send you this great stuff here. You can get it. You can get it in any state that you're working in. But you got to not be afraid. Don't let this intimidate you. You got too big of a support system. If you need help, pick the phone up and call somebody. Because remember, closed mouths don't get fed. Thank you for watching.